Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Well, here it is, a brand new year, and some people believe the year is going to be this way, according to the stars. I don't mean celebrity stars. I mean the stars, as in astrology. We're going to talk about that today. Fascinating, the connection that we're making to astrology with this woman who is the CEO and owner of Full Moon Behavioral. She helps people psychologically, has a team. They're amazing. And I'm amazed that she's connecting astrology to this and making it part of her practice. Both are a science. She's our professional of the year. Dr. Elena Gherman joins us on the program. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Steve. Thank you for having me.
Before we continue, what's your sign?
I'm a Libra.
Ah, okay.
I'm a Libra, so I'm always like, maybe not. I'm trying to find a balance.
I'm a Virgo. So the month right before you, and I will tell you, I worked for a very famous Libra, and he hired me because I'm a Virgo.
Oh, wow.
Not even kidding.
Well, I'm hiring, so are you looking for a new job?
I don't have that much talent, but, it worked at the time, and he and I were friends, but I was in between jobs, and he needed some help, and he literally told me, and he's very intuitive. He said, I'm hiring you because you're a Virgo. I know what I'm getting. I know, you're detail oriented, you care, blah, 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 typical Virgo traits. It's amazing when you start digging a little bit deeper into astrology, what you find and how it connects to people and how accurate it is. Have you ever had your chart done?
I did. And before we go into that, I just want to have a little disclosure sentence, right from the start. Okay. Because I hope I'm not going to get fired over this podcast here. I am a psychiatrist. I am a trained board certified psychiatrist, and I absolutely loved my job. Okay. And I want to say that because I truly believe in mental health and I truly believe in psychiatry. I also am trained in therapy and coaching and everything, as you've seen over all these many sessions with it. But at heart, deep down, I think my passion, my obsession, even at times, I think I'm from a different planet, like I like to call myself. I believe in astrology. I believe in all this spirituality because I feel it. I feel it in my core. I feel it in my blood. I feel it in every cell inside of me. And just like you said it, I believe astrology and the stars above us are labeling us to some extent. And they tell our story. And they tell us a story about who we are, what we're supposed to be doing, and why we are born, why we are here on this planet, in this life. And if we know that story, or if we get to know that story, or if somebody who's well trained to tell us, to teach us about that path that we're supposed to take, I think it can be very, very helpful. And it can really help us clarify that and take us from that agony that we may be dumped into from whatever forces we find ourselves into. And I have seen it on a personal level, and I've seen other people too. It can really pull you out of depression. It can pull you out of despair. It can really save you to one extent or another. So just by knowing, hey, there is a planet, swirling around or in retrograde or something is going on, that's why you're having such a hard time. That's why you cannot sleep. That's why, that loan didn't go through. That's why, certain things are not happening for you. It's helpful. Some people may think, oh gosh, no, you again. But it is, if you believe, if you have that faith, that crazy faith, the way I call it, you have to be crazy to believe in those things, but a beautiful crazy. It's not a pathological crazy, It's a beautiful crazy to where you allow your mind to go beyond. You allow your mind to see beyond just the unimaginable. Look at that sky. Like my daughter said the other day, Mom, how can you see the stars if there are clouds? Yeah, the stars will always be there. You just have to see beyond the clouds. So that's how I think of astrology. It's always there. We were born and the moon was in a certain position and the star was in a different position and all the planets were there, and that's the label we got, and that's going to follow us for the rest of our life.
When you even look at the moon and the tide and the power it has, and that's just the starting point of these things called the planets, and the spirituality part of it, in my journey, that has shown up in the past. Deeper spirituality, like 3 years, 4 years, something like that. And I'm always studying, and I'm open to anything, and I'm skeptical as well. But then I see these things and how it all works and how all the pieces go together. And then I learn and I understand. It's pretty wild and powerful and crazy in a good way at the same time. And I had a chart done for me over 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. In that chart, and this is based on your date of birth, time of birth, and location. And not exact location, but the state, closest state. Right. The astrologer in Australia, and she was recommended, told me I'd be doing what I'm doing right now on podcast. She did. She also said, and there was no way she would even know, she looked at, there was like a little, in the chart, I know nothing about this. I couldn't even, your fourth son is in your fifth house. I don't even know any of that. I'd call a professional. But in the little quadrant, she goes, yeah, those 3 things, those are your kids. I'm like, okay. And she actually identified my kids and even said the middle one, that's your son. And he's destined for something public service, law enforcement. He wants to work for the FBI. He just started college. How do you, and she's like, your older one, she's in the medical field. She's doing what she's a nurse. How do you know that?
Right. No, it's a talent, first of all, right? And it is that specific. Yeah. It's crazy. And that's why me as a trained psychiatrist, I went to school for, I don't know, 14, 16 years. I even lost count how many years I went to school to become a psychiatrist, a trained child psychiatrist that I am. And it's rewarding because I can actually treat mental health. I can prescribe medications. I can cure this. I can take care of abuse. I can take care of all these things, right? Through the scientific approaches and everything that, we go to school for. However, astrology is a science too, but it's a thousands of years old science that through this intuitive approach, they're more precise than our medications, for God's sake, right? And if you look at it, those, like I said, I don't know much about astrology myself. I wish I would have the time to learn. But they know exactly there are 12 houses. And this one represents your income. And this one represents the communication. And this one, your family. And this one, this. And this one, that. And this is how you're going to get along. Exactly like you said, I had a reading done too. And they exactly on the dot told me when I had a fight with my boss. And when I was going to get a divorce. And when I was going to get, exactly. And it was okay.
You just brought back a memory for me. The person that did my reading 3.5 years ago, she did one for me in 2007, and I recorded it, and I should go back to that and see what came true, because I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff there. I totally forgot. I mean, in 2007, maybe it was 2008, whatever. It is a science, and even like Mercury retrograde, 3 times a year that comes up. It's a 3-week period where things go a little wonky. Watch communication, things like that. I don't want to read into it, but why do those things happen? Day one of the last Mercury retrograde, I think it was November. Why did Microsoft 365, one of the biggest email platforms and office suites on the planet, day one went out for the entire world? Coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. All I know is during a retrograde, I'm very careful. I don't, why not? Why take a chance? I wouldn't buy a car. I wouldn't buy a house. I wouldn't have elective surgery. That's just me. I wouldn't take those extra chances.
Mhm.
I'm just
Right.
mindful of it.
Right. And I'm very proud to say that my beliefs and my approach to life, my personal approach to life, I was trying to put it into perspective to see if this helped me, can this be helpful for my patients?
Hmm.
So as we spoke before, and you did talk to Vicky too, I implemented this coaching, spiritual coaching to my patients, and it's extremely helpful and
Wow.
useful. Now, as of about 2 weeks ago, I have hired an astrologer, a trained astrologer through Avla's School of Astrology from Australia. You mentioned Australia. Australia is really big in astrology. So
Hmm.
I am super excited to have him starting with us.
Wow.
And he is really good. I know they're very authentic and they were very, very accurate. So I really look forward to making a big difference in our patients' lives because even though astrology has its limitations, right? Like there are no interference with mental health, and that's not what we expect. But that being able to guide our patients through their activities, through their communications, through their relationships, through the people they should have in their lives, and guiding them based on as simple as their date of birth, like you said, right? Through a chart reading and changing their livelihood, changing their approach to life. I think it can be life changing. And people are scared of these things because there is that stigma like, oh, we're not going to go that way because that is the old style or that is, something out of the ordinary. But I think the way the world goes, the
Mm.
way the approach of everything goes these ways, I think we're going to be successful. I'm just going to be positive and optimistic because this is what I want to do. And this is what we want to do as a practice. And I think it's going to be very successful. So I look forward to what we have to bring to mental health as a whole.
I applaud you for what you're doing. And I feel your timing is so on point that many of us now in our society are finally, I want to say, waking up to things that are spiritual. We're more open to it. Where, let's say it was 20 years ago, it'd be like, oh, wait, are you crazy? Woo woo, stay away. No, now, and I believe, and I'm not the expert here, but there is a shift. And they say we're moving into a fifth dimension, the age of Aquarius, if you will.
Mhm.
There's a change going on here, and more people are comfortable with a lot of the stuff that you bring. And you even mentioned before about offering spiritual coaching. And again, side note, spiritual doesn't mean religion. If you want to, it can.
Exactly. No,
No need to.
absolutely. And we do both.
Yeah.
We do both. I have a religious aspect of the coaching that we offer in our practice. If somebody wants to go to have those talks, those deep religious talks, we do have one of our coach that is trained in spirituality. And then we have this pure spiritual tarot reading coaching in our practice too. If somebody wants to do that, we can go that way as well.
Mm.
And then just blend it all in with whatever the need is. And but if it's pure therapeutic approach for bipolar, depression, anxiety, going back to the DSM-5 criteria, diagnostic, treatment planning, and everything, hey, we have that too, which is a choice, right? But it's not mandatory.
Mm. Yeah.
That is really how I think that we should approach it
Well,
because
you go to a restaurant, you have a choice. So I'm going
Mhm.
to have this. I'm not going to have that.
Right.
I love it. You're widening your practice by
Mhm.
offering different choices to people. And I'm seeing it this way. Let's say somebody's having some challenges, call them mental health challenges, whatever it might be. I'm feeling a certain way. Can you help me with that? Okay, counseling, maybe medication, whatever somebody needs. But maybe there's an answer for why they might be feeling a certain way. Be it we're in a retrograde, whatever might be going on. Maybe there's some more answers to support them a little bit better, so they don't turn around and say, maybe is it me? What's going on? No, there's a reason, scientifically proven.
Right. And let me just kind of try to respond to that by reading. I'm going to read to you because I don't know. Like I said, I don't know all this, but I'm going to read to you the what each house. There are 12 houses, right? What each house represents and what do they focus on. So you can see how you can fix people's lives just by looking into their houses. Again, I'm not an astrologer. I'm a psychiatrist. But by looking at this, you can come around and try to talk about each patient individually, what their need is. First house represents the self. Second house, income. Third house, communication. Fourth house, home life. Fifth, romance and self-expression. Sixth house, wellness and daily routine. Seventh, partnership. Eighth house, intimacy. Ninth house, higher learning and adventure. 10th house, career. 11th house, networking and wishes. 12th house, spirituality and unconsciousness. You see how broad this is?
Yeah.
So just talking about these things, you can really try to bring everyone down to their core and see, why are you anxious? What is the problem? Why are you depressed? Where is the problem? Where is the trauma coming? Let's try to get down deep to the trauma and try to fix all these problems. What's going on in your world? Where is your support? This is really the core and the root of therapy, of counseling, of psychology. If you think about it and then look at their planets, maybe look at how all this revolves around each individual on an individual basis, which again, I don't know. I'm not the expert. Well, let's try to go that way. Maybe one day they'll take my job away, my business away. But this is how I think we should just focus on this and try to improve mental health. And then if they really need help with a sleep aid or with an anxiolytic, yes, let's go for it.
I applaud you. I think it's fantastic. Really, and I'm not just saying that, it starts changing the model of supporting people mentally. I mean, look at, again, 20 years ago, if you use the words mental health, people, whoa, I'm taking care of my mental health. Somebody's got a problem. No, we have our physical health, we have our mental health. So now that's accepted. It's accepted now to say, I'm going to go talk to my therapist. If you don't have a therapist, it's almost sometimes people say, really? Why not? Everybody has one. It's now acceptable.
These days, yesterday, as a matter of fact, I was talking to one of my patients and her mother is very traditional and she was totally against her grown woman coming to see me thinking that I'm somehow evil-willed, right? And there's no such thing as psychiatry and mental health, that she should just go talk to someone such as a sister or a priest. But again, we're talking about tradition. We're talking about cultural beliefs. We're talking about stigma that still exists in mental health.
Wow.
Right? So those things don't change.
Isn't it amazing?
It's a shift.
Isn't it amazing that all the things we're talking about here, spirituality, astrology, all of that has been around for thousands of years. It's nothing new. So there must be a reason why we're still talking about it, because it works, because there's some validity, because astrology is now a science, has been for many years. I just find this is nothing new. Like, you didn't I reinvented the wheel. Here's a brand new widget for you. This will make you feel good. No, this is what made people feel good years ago. And I think it's wonderful. We're just about out of time. If somebody wants to consult with your astrologer, spiritual level, even on a, let's say they need a psychiatrist, whatever it might be, you can support people anywhere, right?
fullmoonbehavioral.com. We are physically located in San Antonio, Texas, but we're all over the world.
Full Moon. I love the name, and it says all what we're talking about. It's like that's the bow on top of the package right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing what you're doing. I really mean that. And opening eyes to what's out there, because it's been helping and supporting people for so long. Finally, I think the mass is more comfortable with it. And I applaud you for what you're doing. I really do.
Thank you. And please, I ask you, and I ask anyone who's listening to, please spread the word. Please take a look at our website. Please see what we do and encourage others to believe. I think that first of all, we need to start talking about it. We need to start believing in it and let people know that it's okay to change. We don't, just because things have been done the same way for generations, it doesn't mean that change is bad.
100%. Happy New Year, by the way.
Thank you so much. Same for you and for everyone.
It's going to be a good one. It's going to be good. And I think you're off to a running start with what you're doing, and we'll catch up soon. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.